Great. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience and with all the technical things we've got going on, but I'm happy to be here. My name is Shanti Douglas. I'm a mindfulness and stress management coach and a healthy weight loss holistic practitioner, really trying to help people feel empowered with who they are, what they do day-to-day living to reduce their stress, but also increase their health and wellness and well-being throughout. So this topic is really important. And I'm hoping that everybody has the workbook that was sent out. Just a few questions on that. If you want to go to slide 2, Karen, that would be great. Let's talk just for a moment about what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to take a look at, taking a look at where you are in your healthy lifestyle against what you're looking to be, where you are on the grade in a number of different ways. We'll take a look at the factors that affect health and imbalance. And then, very importantly, looking at the biopsychosocial connection that we all have to creating health and wellness and balance in our life. And then we'll take a look at some myplate.gov, which is a fantastic website, and also kind of talk about food and the things that we should be looking for. So if you have your workbook, you can open up to page 4, and we can definitely use the chat box as well here. But in the workbook, there's 10 questions, and these are just really good because I think they hit all of the basic points for people. And they're just yes or no answers. Okay, and I can go through them actually right now. So the first question is, are you within the desired weight for your height and weight? So, taking a look at how your body feels, how it's structured right now, yes or no, are you within your desired weight for your height and weight? And you can put that in the chat box, or you can just kind of put that on a notepad to yourself, just have an idea of what that is. Okay, so we've got some notes. Okay, so people looking to create some better balance there. All right. The next question, do you eat nutritious, well-balanced, low-fat diet? And whenever I say diet, I really want to change that to your food plan because I don't like the word diet. The word die is in diet, and I think we have so many associations with words, and with the word diet always comes that feeling of restriction, right, of I can't do this, I have to do this, I'm on a very limited food plan. So when I say the word diet, I'm really talking about your normal day-to-day healthy, the way that you're eating, not so much as a diet sometimes. Okay, so we've got some all over the place on that between sometimes, depends, we try, yeah. Third question, do you find opportunities to get exercise for a minimum of 30 minutes at least 3 times a week? And they're caveating here that even normal activities such as gardening or housework can count, but I really like to kind of stretch this out of that. It's only 30 minutes 3 times a week. I almost said per day. That would be great. So not really, I'm too tired by the end of the day. Yeah, sometimes exercise gives us more energy, right, so we can release some of those tension points, but sometimes it also makes us more tired, so we need to gauge what our energy level is for the activities. Do you sleep soundly and wake up feeling refreshed and energized? I'm talking about sleep here. Do you sleep soundly and wake up feeling refreshed and energized? Like, yep, I'm ready to tackle this day, can't wait for it to happen kind of thing. Or are we just shutting the alarm off 5 or 6 times and just, oh, really, another day? Is it Saturday yet? Is it Sunday? Okay, so kind of all over the place on that. Yeah, sleep is really important. All of these things we're going to talk about a little bit later. Next question, do you drink on average less than 2 alcoholic beverages per day? Okay. we might even ask that per week. That can be quite a bit if we're drinking at least 2 alcohol beverages. So, sometimes if we've got a lot of stress going on, or we find like we don't have a lot of that tension relief when we come home and have a glass of wine, maybe 2, one with dinner, one as we're making dinner. All right, so it looks like the weekends we're chilling out with alcohol, but really not during the weekday. Okay. Are you a non-smoker? So do you not smoke? Smoking is really, as we all know, it's very, very hazardous to our health, but it's also extremely addictive. Okay, great. So people are not smoking. Fantastic. And if you do smoke, no judgment there, but, I'm a former smoker. I know how hard it is to quit, but I also realized it was just really, really important for my health, especially as we get older, to quit smoking. Even hanging around with secondhand smoke can be pretty dangerous. Next question, do you have a positive outlook and generally feel good about your life, right? So where's your level of positivity? Are you like, yep, things are going good, and even in the bad times, you know what, I'm going to get through them? Because life happens, right? Things come up, they come down. Not everything is smooth sailing, and I like to look at it as, okay, where's the growth opportunity here, right? When something's really challenging for me or in my face, things like that. It's like, okay, how can I get through this with not too much trial and more error than I'm already doing? Sometimes those habits that we have can kind of follow along with us. Okay, but it looks like everybody's got a pretty good outlook. That's fantastic because that is huge. How we see life, how we view things really creates and determines, I think, so much of everything else that comes into play for us. All right, the next question, do you have at least one nurturing relationship? And do you get support from family and friends? So is there at least one person that, I can count on to go and I can do my wine, or I can wine with a WH, or I can just express myself. I'm not being fixed all the time. I can just share what's going on, and it's a safe, comforting place for me. Great. So it looks like folks have that as well. Really, really, really important to have that support. And it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody who's close to us. Sometimes the people who are close to us are too close to us, right? They'll tend to try to fix us and move us in a certain direction. So this could be, it could be a coach, it could be a mentor, could be, a spiritual person that we have in our life, an old boss, can be anybody really. All right, so the next question is, do you practice effective stress management techniques? And there's a whole variety of different ways to reduce and help manage stress on a day-to-day basis. But do you have something in your life that, I do this every day and it helps to really chill me out, to help me let go of the things? Good, I see some laughter going on. Laughter is a huge stress management technique. So if you're laughing, that's really good. Humor is really huge. But, so it could be taking a walk. It could be gardening. It could be singing. Just really anything that, helps me to separate myself from the drama and trauma that my mind just gets me into trouble with. So cooking, absolutely fantastic. Great. And the last question, do you practice good preventative maintenance, as far as your health is concerned? So we're talking about regular checkups, your cholesterol screening, your blood work, skin cancer screening, colonoscopy, all those kind of regular maintenance things just to check. Dental, that's really important too, getting your teeth cleaned, flossing. Okay, great. So if you are, that's fantastic. If if you aren't for any of these, right, it's really important that we have the caveat when we look at these questions of, ooh, I'm not doing that, I'm bad. No. It just means something, you know what, maybe there's something else that I need to bring into my day-to-day health practice that will help me in my sense of longevity and in the way that I'm able to maintain my body, maintain my mind, and really create health. Because in my view, health isn't something that you do just, one or two times. It's really something that we do throughout the day and throughout our life. If you look at people who are centurions who live for over 100 years, they're really taking care of themselves along the way. And I think the way that our world is these days, we're really rush. We're pretty busy. We tend to be more reactive to an imbalance in our body or our mind or our social sphere than we are in a responsive state. So we really want to just take a look at these questions and say, okay, great, what do I need to work on? And what am I already doing well? And let me continue to make sure to do things that I'm doing well. Okay, great. Karen, if you can get to slide 3. So here are some key factors that really influence your health. As you can see here, lifestyle is over half, right? So how we take care of ourselves, what is in our environment. We'll talk a lot about that psychosocial aspects in a minute. You also see that environment is 20%, right? So environment are things like your work environment, your home environment. Are they clean? Are they cluttered? Is there lots of pollution? And pollution can not just be in the quality of the air, but it can be in the noise pollution that we have, or the sight pollution, right? If it's too busy, if we don't have enough greenery, it could be, other things in our environment that keep us tense and tight, where there's not a lot of space and freedom. I mean, if you look at, when you take a walk or you go into the woods, you go into the ocean or nature or to the lake, we feel very grounded. We feel like there's a great place to just kind of let go of some of those unhealthy habits that we have. So trying to find that in your environment is important. So environment does have a real factor. Even, smoking, secondhand smoke, things like that. Hereditary is also almost tied with environment. And, we can't change the genes that we received, but I will say that we can influence how those genes are expressed. And actually there's been some studies that we can change the DNA in our body, but we're not going to talk about that right here. But even though, we may have a family history of certain cancers or illnesses or something like that, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're predetermined to also have those diseases as well. So taking that into stride, and if we do have some hereditary related illnesses and diseases, how can we support ourselves even more so that we don't end up expressing those? Healthcare, 10%, are we taking care of our health? Are we getting, the necessary screenings? Are we relying on the medical system to take care of us when we get sick? Or can we be proactive and, look at I see food as part of that healthcare system and stress management and things like that. But 10% of the factors is related to healthcare and having that preventative screenings and exams done on a regular basis. Okay, so we can go to the next slide, which shows the biopsychosocial connection. So I'm going to start with the biology, right? So the first thing, if we want our body to be healthy, what do we need to do? Well, we need to take care of the body, right? We need to put good fuel in our body. We'll talk a little bit more about this on the next slide, but nutrition is so important. It is the fuel that gives us energy, that helps our brain to work the way it should work. You know, if we don't have enough fish oil, or we don't have enough vitamin D, or we don't have enough vitamin Bs to take care of our brain and our body and for cell repair, then we're going to have low energy, and we're not going to be able to think straight, and, you know, all these other things can take place. So nutrition is really important. It's the fuel that keeps us going. Exercise is really, really important. And again, you're going to start seeing that, hey, did we just get asked these questions a little bit a while ago? Yeah. So for exercise, I know they had only said 30 minutes three times a week. My mouth keeps wanting to go 3 times a day, right? But, you know, looking at the amount of exercise that we have, it's really important to keep our body toned and keep it strong. And if we don't have a regular exercise program, definitely go to the doctor, get it checked out. But start incorporating something on a regular basis. And it doesn't have to be jogging or bike riding or walking or, you know, all these regular things that most people do. You have to incorporate exercise that's fun. If you do not like it, you are not going to do it, no matter how much, you know, it means to you. So it can be hula hoop, it could be swimming, it could be, rowing, it could be archery, you know, really anything, any way that we move our body, Tai Chi, yoga, pole dancing, you know, really, how can we move our body? When we move our body, we bring in oxygen, and this oxygen helps to free us from cancer states, because cancer resides in environments where there's a lack of oxygen. So the more that we exercise, the more that we get our blood pumping, the more that we're oxygenating, the better that we're going to feel, and the less illness that we will have. For women, it's also really important to do some resistant trainings. You can do that with bands or weights, but this will also help us to prevent osteoporosis. So again, look at a really good round-based exercise program, not just cardio, but include weights and flexibility in there as well. Relaxation is really important. If we can't relax, we're walking stress bombs, right? Our muscles are tense, our mind is tense, we can't think straight, we have aches and pains. So you want to bring in some relaxation. Again, whatever works for you. That might be a bath, might be a good book. It might take 20 minutes a day. I always ask people, you know what, do whatever it is that you love that supports you. Start out with 20 minutes a day. It's not that much time. We can really fit that in somehow. But get a relaxation practice going. Tai Chi, gentle yoga, gentle stretching is fantastic in the morning. It's beautiful at night. That's where I really have started to incorporate my practice now, and I'm sleeping so much better. Having really great dreams is wonderful. Sleep is also really important. How many hours of sleep, if you guys can put in the chat box, how many hours of sleep do you get a night? 7 to 8, 6 to 7, 6. Yeah, so you reach 5. Okay, so you really want to have really a minimum of 7. Anything underneath that is like double the negative effect of lack of sleep. And especially if we're trying to maintain a healthy body, there's a lot of hormones that get rebalanced when we sleep, including some of those weight hormones, okay? But we all know how we feel when we don't get enough sleep. I know for me, I get headachy, I get cranky, I get weepy, all of those. So find a good 7 to 8 hours of sleep. It's not anything that we can really catch up on. And make sure to do that. All right. So, and then again, everything in moderation and regularity. If we create a rhythm in our body of sleeping, eating, exercise, relaxation, right? So we're really working with the rhythm of our body, which is really great because we're connecting with that then. And that's your physical support system, which if we don't have that, we all know what happens to us when we're sick, right? Nothing else really works. So we start basically with the body. And that feeds into our psychology, right? How we feel. If we feel well in our body, our emotions feel well. We're more stable. We're more grounded. We have higher stress resilience, higher change resiliency, right? We're able to kind of handle the things that we meet every single day, the challenges, the interruptions, the massive to-do list that we think that we need to get to. So all of those really begin with that good body system. And then from there, we work with, having that positive attitude, which I think almost everybody on the call that has written in the chat box said, yeah, you know what, I have a really good attitude, which is fantastic because, you know what, everything in your life is made up of your consciousness, right? So everything that we see it through eyes with a filter. And that filter can be happy or joyful or neutral or ugly or depressed or angry or sad or whatever it is, right? So however we see the world is really a reflection of our internal state. So taking a look at, am I really angry lately? Do I see a lot of people that are mad lately or sad or whatever it is? And, do a check-in and say, hey, am I reflecting that back? Are people being attracted to me because I'm vibrating that type of energy out there? So taking a look at that. And then working with however you need to switch your words, to switch your viewpoint to something that's positive and nurturing. And that can include spirituality, whatever our belief system is. And you can be religious, you can be spiritual, whatever feeds you. It could be nature, it could be your church, it could be your community, it could be your family, it could be, some goddesses or some images or whatever that is for you. However you need to feed that heart and to open up that heart is really great. Humor is really fantastic as well. We need to laugh. We're so tight sometimes around everything. Don't turn on the news for sure. That's all death and destruction. But laugh at yourself. Laugh at how crazy things are sometimes, especially when they get overboard. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening to me again. Laugh about it. Add that in to your stress management practice. Again, learning how to breathe, to do some meditation, to bring in mindfulness, which is staying in the present moment, right, without that mind going all the time. So learning some healthy stress management techniques and tools is important as well. And, I really see that everything is a continual education process. I've been in the psychology field since, I was very young. It always interested in me, and I'm constantly learning more. And I may be learning more facts and figures as well, but I tell you, every single day, I learn more about myself. I'm always changing. Everything's always changing. So see the education process as something that's really positive and healthy and continual. When we feel great about our body, we feel healthy, we feel great about our social our psychological well-being, our emotional well-being, that translates into our social well-being as well, right? So having close relationships, people who you can trust, who you can rely on, who you can call on in the middle of the night, who are also your friends and laugh with you and hang out with you and have no sense of obligation, or heaviness, right? We want to hang around with people that make us feel good, that help us to be light and laugh and just have a really great friendship that really bring us up higher versus, kind of bringing us down. So taking a look at your friends, taking a look at your relationships, choosing your friends, choosing your relationships, getting involved in the community is also really important. When we help other people, we always get so much more back, that sense of gratitude and kindness and just heart-warmed sensation that we have when we reach out and we help somebody. And if we're going through a lot of tough times, somebody out there always has it worse than us, and I think that's a really great time to help somebody else as well. It makes us feel really good. And, taking whatever support systems you need from the outside, from your workplace, right, from, again, your community. So seeing us as a shared community, and we're here to support one another. Okay, for the last slide, we've got ChooseMyPlate.gov, and this is a really great website. It's by the USDA, and it's really, really comprehensive. They have, a list on there of all the foods that are good for you, broken down by, fruits and grains and vegetables and things like that. If you're looking to create a healthy weight plan, you can get on there, and you can log in with your exercise. They've got videos, downloads, and it's really a lot of great information as well. And you can see the plate here. This has really changed from the pyramid. You may remember the food pyramid, and they've really changed it to the plate here, which indicates, we need to have so many vegetables, so many fruits, grains, proteins, and dairy, that all of these pieces of food are really important for, again, a well-balanced body and mind. If you take a look at grains, for instance, we want to have whole grains in our food plan every day. So skipping the white stuff, right, and trying to get 100, whole grain stuff, so we get as many nutrients from the grain as possible. And that's talking about breads and cereals, crackers, pasta, going for that whole wheat pasta instead of the enriched pasta kind of thing. Protein is really important. Different types of protein. You want to get the fish, you want to get chicken, turkey, all different kinds of fish, and that you can have red meat, maybe once a week or so, taking a look at the type of meat that you eat, staying away from the prime, which has up to 45% fat, and moving towards the select cuts of meat that have less fat. Protein is important for your muscles and for the cells to maintain themselves throughout the day. So you can have protein at least 3 times a day, right? So morning you might have some eggs, you might have a protein shake, have a little bit of chicken or something on your salad at lunch, and then have some fish or something in the evening. So protein you should have 3 times through the day. Actually, all of these, trying to have them throughout the day. Vegetables are really important to eat, making sure that they're, either raw or al dente, not boiling them to where they're mush. Roasting vegetables is really great. I know, the USDA only says to have 2.5 to 4 cups a day. You can't overeat on vegetables. They're going to make you full. They give you lots of fiber, lots of phytonutrients. Bring in a variety of food with different colors and textures. You can get purples with like eggplants, reds and oranges with different types of peppers, tomatoes, especially these days right now. It's perfect season, harvest season. You can definitely get fresh vegetables from your local farmer or even your grocery store. So vegetables are really key. They're low in fat, high in fiber, high in nutrients, and they're just really, really good for you. Fruits are important as well. They're the sugar to have, right? So we really want to keep out the other kind of sugar that usually comes in a huge bag or in sodas or things like that. But looking to fruits for your level of sugar, and trying to keep your fruit down to 2, maybe 3 a day. 2 cups maybe total. The sugar is good for us. The fruit is good for us, but we don't want to have too much of that. And so again, maintaining that good fruit in our body. And then dairy is really important as well. And it doesn't necessarily have to be milk. You can have, almond milks, things like that. But look at cheeses, cottage cheese. There's some other, I'm trying to think of some other good dairy products. But you want to have some of that calcium. That's really important, especially as women. It's key to have calcium. But that doesn't necessarily always come from milk itself. Fats are also really important. Fats are not on here. You want to have fats, and you want to have healthy fats in your diet, from like avocados or oils or fish oils, flaxseed oils, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, cold water fish, low-fat cheeses, things like that. You want to stay away from the canola oils, the corn oils, things like that, where they tend to be processed, hydrogenated, or have a lot of genetic modifications on them. Lard, butter, mayonnaise, things like that. You kind of want to stay away from cream-based sauces, stuff like that. So overall, taking a look at your food source and what am I eating, when am I eating, am I getting enough protein, am I getting enough good healthy fats, am I eating enough vegetables, and you can really incorporate that through your day very easily. And not forget about the snacks either. I know usually we think of 3 meals. I really like to eat 5 meals a day because, again, this helps my body to fuel itself throughout the day, so I'm not looking to get to sugar or caffeine to help keep me boosted. The other thing, too, one more thing that I'm just going to mention before we get to some questions, hydration is really important. Half of your body weight in ounces of water is the formula for how much water you should have, and this is no caffeine, right? So, but this includes decaffeinated tea, but not soda. So you really want to keep your body hydrated. It's important for your brain. It's important for your body. We're anywhere between 70 to 80% water, and if we're dehydrated, we're going to have different kind of cravings, and B, our brain and our body isn't going to be able to process information and energy resources like it should. And you're going to feel crampy too. So if you feel crampy or achy sometimes, you might look at being that you're dehydrated. So anyways, check out choosemyplate.gov. It's a fantastic website. It has lots and lots of great information. They may even have an app. But what I want to do now, because we're a little bit after our half an hour, I do want to open it up for questions. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take those. And again, just looking at, everything that you do, is it in a balanced way? How can I incorporate all of these things that we talked about at the beginning of the program throughout the day, and doing that as part of your daily routine of health and wellness and balance? So if you have any questions, you can either put them in the chat box or you can unmute.
Shanti, you had, this is Karen, you had talked about exercise, and one of the first lunch and learns that we had this year, we had a gentleman come up, and he had these TheraBands, and he was showing us some exercises to do, like for people that sit at their desk pretty much throughout the day. So we actually ordered some of those TheraBands, and then we had United Healthcare send us some bands. So if anybody hasn't received one or they would like one, they can come by my office and grab one. That way, if they wanted to, they can sit at their desk and use the bands to exercise their arms, their legs, their back, their shoulders, that kind of thing.
That's great.
And we also would get a weekly order of fruits and vegetables. So every Monday, there's 3 baskets of fruit for all of the office employees. And we were doing vegetables, and we bought one of those omega juicers. But a lot of the participation in the juicing kind of fell off. So we still have the juicer here. It's just we haven't been ordering any more vegetables for the juicer, but employees are still welcome to bring their own vegetables and make their own juices using the juicer. And then the last thing that you had mentioned was hydration. It's funny you mentioned that. I have a big picture on my credenza, and I have messages written on the picture, big 72 ounces, full of water, a little bit of lemon juice, and it's like the very top says, get started, and then still a ways to go, almost there, don't stop yet, getting closer, and then done. So I know
Yay.
that 6 big glasses, and I have got my water intake for the day. And I've noticed a big difference. I just started it like a week and a half ago, but I can tell a difference.
Yeah. How do you notice the difference, Karen? What are you noticing?
My knees don't ache as much. They don't. When I'm walking, I think my joints are. I guess since I'm more hydrated, my joints are better lubricated, so it doesn't. I don't get as achy. Yeah, my ankles and my knees, my feet don't swell up. My skin looks better.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And at lunch and at dinner, I don't eat as much because I have water. I drink a big thing of water. And I try to drink a glass of water before I even drink coffee in the first thing in the morning.
Yeah, if you're going to have that in the morning, put some lemon in it because that will help to cleanse your liver, which does over 400 functions. So that's a really great way to start your detox off. And another thing with water, don't drink and eat at the same time because we can dilute some of the digestive enzymes that we have with which the type of food that we eat and the way it's grown these days can really be compromised as well. And water is it's really important. And one more thing to mention on the water is a lot of times when we think we're hungry, we're actually thirsty. So you might want to try, hey, let me see if I'm thirsty instead of hungry. So those are great points. Thank you for that, Karen.
Sure.
Great. Anybody else have any comments or questions they want to add?
If y'all want to, you can press *6 to unmute your lines and ask any questions or use the chat box. I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody that I muted on the web controls. So if you want to ask a question, now's the time to do it.
Great. Well, great. I want to thank everybody for your time. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. And what do you do when you feel like you literally don't have time to exercise? Great question. What do you do when you feel like you don't have any time to exercise? See how you can bring it in. Maybe, it's not a half an hour here or there. Maybe it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And your exercise to begin with might just be stretching, getting up every hour and stretching for 1 minute. 1 minute isn't a lot, but that will also help to reduce your stress that you have, and it will help to oxygenate your body and get some of those kinks out, especially if we're running around all the time. And then the other thing that I do is I calendar it. I put it on my schedule because I'm realizing that, it's so important for me to get some exercise. And you also need fun in your life, right? So you want to make it something that's fun. Block it in. You are so important. You are so, so important, to try to block that in. And it looks like you drive a lot in the car each day. Yeah, so that can be really challenging. And hopefully you're listening to some inspirational tapes or something that's, keeping you pumped up But on the weekend, or even getting up an extra 10 minutes in the morning just to do even just some gentle stretching or something that you like to do. You start small and just keep moving from there, because once your body recognizes that, hey, this is working for me, I'm really enjoying it, and what's going to happen to me if I don't do this, that might get you a little bit more motivated.
Shanti, I like the idea of putting it on your calendar, but what I did a couple of months ago, I went and bought this Fitbit, and you can set alarms to go off, and I actually have 2 alarms, one at 11:15 and one at 2:15, and it just buzzes on my wrist, so that's my reminder to step away from my desk for just a moment, have a little time to take a deep breath, clear my mind, maybe walk around the 6th floor, go down to the 3rd floor, and just do, walk around just for like a few minutes. Even though the alarm goes off, I'm not always able to do it at that time. I'll be in the middle of something, but it's just a reminder that time to take just 5 minutes for me.
Mhm. Yeah, so the 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, if you do that, 4 or 5 times a day, that's 25 minutes. It's better than nothing. So start where you are. Start where you are. It's okay.
And I have a question. When it comes to, you had talked about 5 meals a day instead of 3 meals. Now, should you really not eat anything after a certain time of day? Because then if you eat late, then your body
is... So pretend you're European when you eat, right? So the biggest meal should be lunch. Is better if it's lunch. And it's better to not eat at least, 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed, because anything that's not digested is just typically going to turn to fat. It might also, if you're not sleeping well either, or you're waking up a lot of time, or you're gassy, or you're bloated, or things like that, you have some irritable bowel stuff going on, it may be because you've got food in your stomach when you're trying to sleep. So your body's trying to process food while you're also asking it to stop processing anything. So there's a miscommunication there. So I really like to not eat at least, at the outset, at least 2 hours, but really 3 hours before you go to bed. Okay. And then when you have 5 meals a day, that you could be 3 major meals and 2 snacks, but you make them smaller. These aren't big meals. And when we take, 20 minutes, half an hour to eat each meal, I know it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. Eating our food and notice and chewing our food, right, because the digestive process starts in the mouth. So when we chew each bite 10 or 20 times, it's going to break it down into little pieces, which our body can absorb the nutrients more. It also takes longer to eat then, and then we have that 20-minute allowance between body and brain, so we can tell, I'm full. I don't need to finish all of this. So we tend to eat smaller meals, but still have better energy and, have that consistency of energy in our body.
On the choosemyplate.gov, you said you can go to the website. Do they have samples of what an actual portion is?
Yep, they have portions there. They have meal plans there. They have, if you have dietary restrictions, you can pull up some meal plans depending upon your age, your sex, your height, weight, all of that. It's really a pretty comprehensive website, so I really send people there to get a lot of the information.
Good.
Yeah, good information.
Okay. Did anybody else have any other questions or comments? Okay. Well, if not, then I am going ahead and conclude the webinar, the presentation. I'm going to stop the recording.